I'm Luca and I have Tourette's and ADHD. So today I'm going to do an ADHD test, go through every question. Maybe that can provide some insight. How often do you misplace or have difficulty finding things at home or at work? Well, at work it's not that hard because I keep everything in my bag. So that's fine. I mean, I still have to look through my bag 100 times because it's pretty big. But other than that, I'm fine. At home, I don't lose my keys anymore as often because I just keep them in the door and just lock the door like that. I lose my glasses every single night. I will take out my contacts. That's the first stupid thing. I've been wearing contacts since I was... Okay, so my camera died, so if something has shifted, that's the reason. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, how often are you distracted by activity or noise around you? So activity definitely, if something moves in the corner of my eye, I will definitely look at it. Noise, not as much anymore. I live by a very busy road. You can't usually hear it in the background, even though I close all my windows. And have my mic here right now is just because there was no way I could record at home with like the microphone on my camera because it's so noisy. I don't really hear that anymore, kind of tune it out. But when people are talking around me, I can't like tune out their conversations. I will definitely listen to them. And then the awful thing is that with my Tourette's, with the echolalia, so that's the mimicking sounds, when I hear people say something, I will copy something like a part of that sentence. So at one time I was in the train sitting close by to I think like teenage girls, and they were talking about like their ex-boyfriends, and it was a very private conversation and I was not supposed to be listening in, but I couldn't tune it out. And they said some word and I echoed that word, so they definitely knew that I was listening to them, and I was just really? So yeah. How often do you leave your seat in meetings or other situations in which you are expected to remain seated? Usually I do remain seated, but I do really want to get up. I really struggle having to just sit down that long. I will go to bathroom breaks just because I feel like I have to get up. And I pace a lot, but I don't usually actually get up. I can stay put even though I'm internally just suffering. Okay, how often do you feel restless or fidgety? All the time, always. Yeah, unless I'm sleeping, always. How often do you have difficulty unwinding and relaxing when you have time to yourself? Oh, that's horrible, yeah. Like just transitioning from one situation to the other. Having been like, after focusing for a very long time, especially right now, like working from home, you don't have that travel back home anymore, so you don't have that moment to just kind of unwind. I find it really hard to stop working, and then when I do, because then I'll be like really hungry, really tired, kind of cranky. Just to be able to relax and unwind, it's really hard for me, absolutely. So every day, that's the thing. I can't get going, and when I get going, I can't stop. And then when I've stopped, I can't relax. It's lovely. How often do you find yourself talking too much when you are in social situations? I don't think I talk too much in social situations, but I think other people would definitely think I do. As a teenager, I hated that because I wanted to be kind of cool and I wanted to be kind of relaxed, you know, kind of cool alternative kid. But then the moment I'd be around people, I'd just be like so hyper and just talking about everything and just way too much. You're ugly. And I'd write in my diary like plans, like tomorrow you're going to be chill, you're going to be relaxed, you're going to be cool, and I just could not do that. And now I've learned to live with it. I feel like it's like kind of part of my personality. People now like it about me. They tell me it gives them energy as well, which is nice because it's sometimes quite tiring for me. But still, yeah, I talk a lot in social situations, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, someone has to talk. That's why this whole YouTube thing is really good, because I'm talking to a camera and the camera does not talk back. But the downside to that is that I have to listen to myself afterwards when I'm editing it, and man, I ramble. I cut out the worst of it, but When you're in conversation, how often do you find finishing the sentences of people you're talking to before they can finish them themselves? Yeah, I do that. I'm trying not to do that as much anymore, and I also find that medication doesn't help with that. But I do tend to do that because usually they're talking and then I already have an idea about, oh my god, that's so interesting, or it's not because I want to be rude or because I want to interrupt them, or that I don't think it's interesting what they are saying. It's just because it triggered a thought and then it comes out. I've set like challenges for myself. This was mostly at work at first, but I use it other times as well. So when I'm in a group of people and someone is talking about something, to not be the first person to react to them. Just wait. Wait for other people to say something first. To become aware of this urge to immediately speak up and just give your thoughts some time, give them the time to wrap up a conversation. I still do it, it's true. I mean, I still have conversations, especially like late at night, having a few drinks. Someone is talking about something and they said, oh, I have a story about this. And I'm like, oh my God, I also have a story about that. And then luckily my friends will tell me, no, Luca, we want to hear their story first. Okay, sure. And it's not a personal attack, of course. At first when they said that, I was a bit like, sorry. But it's good that they said they don't judge the fact that I do that, because they understand that that's just my enthusiasm. And I don't know, I have a thought, but not everyone is going to be as energetic, and they need some space to talk about stuff as well, and then you can have your story afterwards. How often do you have difficulty waiting your turn in situations when turn taking is required? Yeah, I don't like that. I prefer going first at stuff, but then kind of don't like that you have to wait that long until everyone else is done. I mean, not that I'm not interested in what other people are doing, it's just that it takes a long time. But it's not that bad. But I do tend to kind of zone out, and that doesn't help either, of course. And again, that can come across as a really bad personality trait and being very egocentric. That's not the case. It's not that I'm not interested. It's just because it takes long and I have to sit still and I have to focus and I can't. I don't know. It's not that bad. How often do you interrupt others when they are busy? I don't know. I don't think I do that a lot. When I'm at work, like usually people will just be sitting behind their laptop and I don't really interrupt them. I'll send them messages. I'll do that and then they can read it whenever they want, so you don't interrupt them. But sometimes I'll have like a thought or a thing that I want to do. Like when I'll just wait till they take off their headphones and kind of look around, and I'll be like, I have a story, and I'll just go right in. I don't think I really interrupt people when they're really busy, but I'm not sure. Maybe. Not that often. It's okay. So yeah, I didn't fill in the test, but most of them were very often. This is just me. Also, but if I'd taken this test, I think like 10 years ago, I would not have filled it in the same way. I'd be like, no, I don't talk a lot, or I don't get distracted, I don't lose stuff. The thing with ADHD is that we don't usually have a great self-awareness. So we overestimate our capabilities, we underestimate our problems, which is, fine. It can help, but it can make assessing ADHD a bit difficult, because it's usually also based on how you describe your problems. So be aware of that. Also when you're self-diagnosing and think you might have all sorts of other things, being a bit of a hypochondriac is not that weird for ADHD, because it's difficult to self-assess. So be aware of that. Again, this test is not meant to diagnose you. Don't use online tests to, get a diagnosis or try to get on medication because you filled in a test. That's not a good idea. You have to go to the doctor for that. It's really worth spending some time and energy, and if you have to, maybe spend a bit of money to get the proper diagnosis and get the proper treatment. It's your life, ADHD, it doesn't seem like it, but it can be a very serious disorder. I talked about that in a previous video, so if you're interested in that, I'll link it around here and in the description below. I'll link to this test in the description below as well. If you watch this and you have ADHD and you recognize some of these points, or maybe have a very different set of symptoms, I'm really interested in reading that, so comment those down below. So again, I make weekly videos about Tourette's, ADHD, so if you want to know more about that stuff, please consider subscribing. If you thought this video was at all interesting, please leave a like, that really helps me. And I'll see you next week. Have a great day. I love you. Bye.